Hey everyone, it's Melanie.
And Anthony.
And today I'm smoking a Macanudo.
I'm smoking a Sobremesa.
And today we're gonna be talking about...
What did we decide to talk about?
We'll tell you after this. So light up a cigar and we'll be right back.
Right back.
Okay, so we're back. I'm smoking the Macanudo Inspirato Red. I haven't tried it yet, so I'll let you know how it goes. And
it's the, just real quick, because Ed the rep came in today. Ed Trevino, super good dude.
Smells good.
Awesome General Cigar rep. So the Inspirato Red is the fourth in the series of the Inspiratos. There's Inspirato White, Black, and Orange. So far they've all been pretty light-bodied to medium-bodied. Yeah.
The pre-light draw or smell like a lot of cocoa, almost like some minty notes, which I don't know if anyone will agree with me, but like a chocolate minty smell.
Okay, Charlie Bernardo.
No, I am so far from that. Like I practically probably smell that on every cigar. No, probably the stronger one.
You gotta stop eating Tic Tacs before you smoke a cigar.
I brush my teeth.
I got really strong barnyard on the foot, which it's like fresh hay, like sweet hay. Like
you just eat hay?
I just go through barnyard. I totally get it, but there are certain like...
I get it, but I just think it's funny.
Yeah, and I think we've talked before in some videos, and we'll sort of talk about it more, but like, generally speaking, there tends to be like a certain, like there's certain base things you get out of cigars, right? And other things are just totally attached, just like food, and smells in general are kind of attached to like olfactory memories. Like it just triggers moments.
Well, and Anthony, you've been down to the factory, so I'm sure you have different experiences. And like for me, I have the worst taste buds. I just don't have very, I don't think I have advanced taste buds. Plus, I pierced my tongue twice, which they do say you lose like 20% of your taste buds if you do that.
Inspirato, box press, Habano wrapper on it. It's an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper over a Nicaraguan Jalapa binder. And then the fillers, you've got a medley of things going on. You've got Honduran Yamastron, you've got Nicaraguan Esteli, and Nicaraguan Ometepe. Now, I smoked one this afternoon, and for my palate, I got medium, maybe a couple moments medium plus. I didn't get a full-bodied cigar, but I got a solid medium to medium plus cigar out of it. And really enjoyed it, actually. Probably my favorite Macanudo to date. Like I said, I'm smoking the Sobremesa. I got to relight mine because mine, I haven't lit it up yet. But it's the Sobremesa from Dunbar and Tobacco Trust. Steve Saka, at least in my opinion, really can do no wrong. And I know he'll snicker or laugh at that. I'm smoking a Sobremesa. And like I said, Mel's smoking the Inspirato. And tonight, it's a little bit of a bittersweet video because I think this is one of those great moments. You know, we've had some of these more candid moments. And this is a candid moment because we kind of had a nut-kicking week last week. It was not a great week, especially for me. But Mel and all of her family were attached to these individuals too. But my grandfather passed last week, who passed. And really after that, that's where things really started to kind of go downhill. And it's sad. I mean, you have these great individuals in your life and they live full lives, right? I mean, my grandfather passed away in his 90s and my grandma passed away in her 90s. Yeah, so this is kind of just one of those videos where, you know, cigars fulfill a lot of important elements in life. And a lot of times they're celebratory smokes, right, where you celebrate great occasions. And sometimes there are moments where you sit and just remember and think about those whom you celebrated in life. Now they've passed on and you remember them fondly and have a cigar to kind of decompress and, you know, grieve and walk through the process. So I think it's just an important thing, you know, for us being part of the cigar community. We like to point out that cigars are for different purposes. And, you know, this is where we've taken some time this week to kind of sit back with cigars and enjoy, talk, and reflect. And so we're just gonna, you know, Mel will probably share a couple memories that stick out to her. I'm going to share a couple memories, and this is kind of our video dedication memoriam to my grandfather who passed, and then on Sunday night, our first family pet,
which was like our baby.
Yeah.
It was like losing a baby. I'm so sad about Henry, and maybe it was a way to like, everybody was sharing their stories, how they just lost a pet, and there's a lot of comfort in that. And it's interesting because, you know, both Anthony and I, we've talked a lot about losing family pets, you know, throughout our marriage. And like, I remember that was one thing where I like was really hesitant to have dogs again because of the pain of losing one of my favorite dogs. But being an adult and having to make that decision probably was our hardest decision we had to make as a couple, to have to put Henry down. I mean, as a couple and as an individual, I think it was probably one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing that I've had to do in my adult life. And I think both of us were really in denial that he was sick. Anthony kind of knew it, but our dog Winston, who has been sick for quite some time, we just thought Winston was the sick one, and Henry kind of creeped up the past 3 weeks. Anthony noticed he was sick.
I just knew he was losing weight, but I just thought
he had dementia.
Well, we just saw a little, and it wasn't really even that long. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was.
It was maybe just
really
2 weeks.
Honestly, it was really the last.
It just happened so fast.
Yeah, the last week, and we got caught up with my grandfather's passing, and
it wasn't like we never noticed. It's like,
no, but he didn't really have any like manifestation of signs really until this last week, strongly.
And he's so tiny that he's always eaten till he's done and drank. His nose was wet, and so when we noticed, Anthony's like, you know, he looks like he stopped eating, but I would give him a little snack, and I kept checking if he was drinking, and then about 2 weeks ago he started peeing everywhere. And I knew we had a friend's dog over, so I thought, well, maybe he was trying to mark his territory, but I told Anthony his pee was very dark, and that troubled me. And one day I saw Henry pee, and I said, Henry, no. And Henry looked at me like he didn't know. Normally I'd say no, and he'd be embarrassed. And I said no, and he looked at me like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I just peed, you know? And like, he just didn't know. And then we would put him outside, and he forgot where the doggy door was. He looked like he was lost. And then it was Sunday when I told Anthony, I put him out to go potty, and he was lost outside.
Yeah, well, and he started to stumble on Sunday.
It's almost like I told Anthony, thinking back, I think he had a couple seizures. Maybe he did. No, maybe he didn't have seizures. Maybe he fainted.
Yeah, he was just really out of sorts on Sunday. And
it was awful. And I think Olivia, our daughter, thought maybe she did something because she bumped into him and he fell. But I think he was running up to her to see her, and he fell. Yeah. So I told her, you know, you didn't do anything wrong. But my oldest daughter's like, please take him to the vet. And I told Anthony, I was like, if we took him the week before, they would have made him put him to sleep. And I think I just didn't want that. And finally on Sunday, I had said he had fainted, and my oldest daughter was there, and I called my neighbor. I said, listen for the kids, and I had to race and take him because I knew something wasn't right, you know. Yeah. And I put him on my lap, and Anthony called the 24-hour facility, and he said there's like a 3-hour wait. Yeah. And as soon as I walked in, I'm like, my dog is so sick, I don't know what to do. And she said, we're calling triage right now. And the lady within 2 seconds just took him from me. She's like, he's so sick, I'm taking him back right now. And right away they said, you know, they basically told me, they made me sign advance directives you know, asking me what to do, how we wanted to revive him if he died. They kept telling me he wasn't going to make it. And that's when I was like, I don't know what to do. I had to call Anthony home from work.
Yep.
Because I wanted Anthony to be able to say goodbye.
Yeah. And so I was able to get there. And I was able to be there with them, and we were able to make the decision together.
And the people were very compassionate. They kept him alive for Anthony.
Yeah. I mean, they gave him...
I said, we'll pay anything to keep him happy and comfortable. They kept him on oxygen and...
Yeah.
I think the lady said pain meds or whatever they gave him.
Yeah, and he was comfortable. We had him wrapped in a blanket, and, you know, they administered the final shots to...
But the best part was, so I was holding him. They let us cuddle him before we did anything for like a good 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Anthony came and he heard Anthony's voice, because him and Anthony have always been really close. And he heard Anthony's voice, and it was like he wanted to be with Anthony. So I passed him over, and he was just so happy, like fully relaxed. I was so happy to be with Anthony. And so I took some pictures, and when the vet came in, or was, you know, explaining what was going to happen, or somebody came in, and I told Anthony, I'll take him back so you didn't have to hold him. And I took Henry, and he started flopping his body. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, is he having a seizure? Like, what's going on? And we realized he wanted to be with Anthony. And I just thought this was the neatest thing. So I pushed him over to Anthony, and he lifted his head up and put it right next to... Actually, I did get a picture of this. He put his head right next to Anthony's beard. And just, it was like the most amazing moment of probably next to our kids' births. I think this is the best moment of our lives, because it just shows what a bond Henry had with Anthony. They were so close. So it was really hard, but we didn't want to... I kept being like, I wish we could change our minds. But the vet, she was like, if it was the first thing she told me, if it was my dog, she would have put him down, because he was in so much pain. No matter what, even if we could have paid all the money in the world, he wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, and if he did, even if they were able to clean up and do stuff, they weren't sure that he'd pull through the surgery and all those things. I mean, it was just too much for his little body to handle. And he, you know, he lived a good life. He was 9, you know. I mean, he's a smaller dog, so smaller dogs can live.
We thought he'd live longer.
A long time. And yeah, he was a perfectly healthy dog all the way up till then. So I think that was part of the thing that really caught us off guard. We just kind of assumed that they'd go on living forever.
Yeah.
But you know, that's it's a sad thing. Like that's kind of like the bittersweet moment, even when you get a puppy. Like, and we got Henry as a puppy, and you look into their eyes, and you know you're gonna have a lot of joyful moments with them, but ultimately you're probably gonna outlive them. And there's kind of that little bit that sits in the back of your head that you know that.
I didn't think about that.
I did. I mean, I every time I've had an animal, I do. I love animals. I love them more than humans half the time. It's true.
We all do.
No, not everybody's an animal person. Some people probably watch this and go, I don't know why you're so upset about an animal. But
I'm not an animal person, and
they
break my heart because I love them so much. So.
But Henry touched our lives. He was super gentle to the children.
Especially with our youngest child, who's extremely
rough. Everett, no matter how hard he told him to do soft hands, and you would work with him on that, he terrorized the poor dogs. Not bad, we
always have to be like,
really
Everett.
And they put up with it. And Henry especially, like, was super kind to him and just kind of went with it. Every once in a while, like, it was too much, he'd be like, and then Everett would back off a bit. But
yeah. I think Henry bit Everett one time. We were like, good job. We told Henry, good job, because Everett needs to learn.
Yeah.
But, you know, Henry was such a good dog.
And he was our shop dog. Or not
Before
at this
we
shop.
had Winston.
Before we had Winston, when Henry was by himself, you know, when I first was raising him as a pup, he used to come with me to the shop when I worked at one of the shops I worked with way back when. and he'd come and hang out. The guys loved him. He was pretty timid back then.
Still was timid.
Still was timid, but Winston really brought him out of his shell. But it was great. I mean, he was a great dog. Everybody loved him, and like I said, for us, and for me, like, no matter how much, something could go wrong or when times sucked the most, Henry could read that, and he'd always be there to, cheer you up.
Yeah, lay out on top of our heads.
Yeah.
Not on our heads, but
by our heads or near us on the couch. He was like kind of like a cat.
He was like a cat.
All right, so Mel had to go inside because her little obnoxious son is still up, and we've tried putting him down 800 times tonight, and we thought he was down, but the little stinker came out and interrupted. But one of my favorite stories about Henry that I'm just going to tell is the Henry Houdini story, and that was when we had him when he was young, still just a puppy. We put him in the kitchen, and we put up a fence in the kitchen so he could stay in the kitchen. The kitchen was tile. He was still getting puppy trained. And we had a crate and all there. And we're crate training, but we're letting him out because we're going to be gone for a while. So we had a doggy door so he could go in and out. He kind of had learned some of that. But like I said, he was still getting all the things down in the house. And we came home, and he had got on the other side of the gate. And of course, he's a devil, so when we come home, he had already jumped back on the other side. It looked like he hadn't been on the other side, but he had pooped on the other side. And we used to call Henry the angry pooper. Like, when he was not happy at you, he would pop a squat and poop on the ground just to show you his displeasure. And he did that a lot when we were training him when he was little. So a couple different times we had this gate up. He would jump over or got over. We had no idea how he did it. We're just like, Henry Houdini, how the heck did you get over this gate? There's no way. And we like built up double gates, and we're like, dude, how? But every time we came home, poop on the floor. And he was back on the other side once again, but somehow he had found a way to get over it. So one time we're like, all right, we gotta watch how this happened. So we put him in, and then we snuck around the house and looked through the window and watched him in the kitchen. And sure enough, after about 5 minutes, he started freaking out and like attacking the gate. And what we found is that he could parkour the gate. So he like bounced, hit the wall, and then like grab enough of the gate with his paws where he could like hoist himself over. It was the craziest thing. But that was a testament to that dog's stubbornness and spirit. And then the other great time, and just a couple great stories about my grandfather. Grandfathers for young men, when you're blessed with good grandfathers, are great sources of inspiration, character building, and all sorts of things. That's how my grandfather was. He was my grandfather who had kind of started his own laundromat business, and he wasn't a seamstress, because that's not what you call a dude who sews, but he had a whole sewing, clothing repair business in California. And he moved to California after World War II. And, he taught me a lot about basic business principles that will always go with me. And, he was always one of those guys who had a smile on his face. He was an usher and the crowd warmer at church for years, like in the old people's like Sunday school class. Ever since I was young and remember going to visit him, he was the guy who warmed up the crowd before the sermon on Sundays. He'd go in and tell some like old people jokes, and everybody's like, oh. And like, those are just some great memories I have of my grandfather. But his integrity, his spirit, his love of the family, all those things carry on with my dad and myself, and beyond just the name. And like I said, one of the things that I wrote about in one of the posts I posted on my grandfather was that he's a World War II vet, and somebody had commented that not a lot of people, from that era and from those particular wars like to necessarily talk about their stories. There's a lot of horrific things that they saw in those wars. And my grandfather fought in the Battle of Guadalcanal. He was in the Iwo Jima theater, or in the Pacific theater, and he certainly saw his share of things that he didn't want to talk about. But what my grandfather was able to do in life, and one of the things that he did with his war experiences too, that and his stories that I always loved, is that he found the humorous moments in him and used those to tell these tales of, you know, heroics in battle and life. You know, just even like tonight, like as I tell these stories, there's a lot to celebrate, and these are the stories that I want to leave people with, and, you know, connection to either Henry or my grandfather. You know, like, there are funny, humorous, warm moments, and my grandfather was able to find those even in the midst of war. So, had a heck of a grandfather, a heck of a pup, and it sucked to lose both in the same week. Not expected, but even though they're not here any longer, they left great legacies for my life story and my family's life story. And that's the important thing, is cigars in a time like this, to sit back and remember the legacies that they left behind. And we hope that you guys, you know, enjoy cigars and all the celebrations of life. But, you know, also enjoy a cigar and take the moment to celebrate the bittersweet moments in life too. So Mel and I, like I said, Mel's inside dealing with her little one. So I'll be signing off. Once again, this is Anthony, that's Mel. If you've got great stories or memories of bittersweet moments or occasions, feel free to write about them down below. It's been a healing journey for us to have all the love and support we've had. Check out the Macanudo Red, solid stick, impressed by it. Definitely check out Steve Saka, Dunbar and Tobacco and Trust. Always phenomenal stuff. Another veteran. Thank you, Steve. And, you know, celebrate those moments out there, people. Whether they be sad moments, bittersweet moments, or great moments, cigars are always there to fill in that gap and that occasion for you. So have a great week, guys. I'm sure we'll be out and doing another video later on. We'll be back to more of our zany routine. This one, like I said, is a little somber, but a little upbeat as well. And we hope you enjoyed it. So see you next time. Bye.